Hello friends. What happens when an earth sign meets a fire sign in the grand theater of love and destiny? What sparks fly, or get extinguished, when a methodical Virgo man crosses paths with a fiery Aries woman? In astrology, this union is considered both fascinating and complex, a test of patience, passion, and the ultimate pursuit of balance. Today, we'll explore the detailed dynamics between a Virgo man and Aries woman, two very different creatures of the zodiac, and find out how compatible they truly are in love, sex, marriage, friendship, and business. Let's dive in. Love compatibility. At first glance, the Virgo man and Aries woman might not seem like a likely match. He's calm, calculating, and observant, ruled by Mercury, the planet of intellect and analysis. She's bold, instinctive, and direct, governed by Mars, the planet of war, energy, and drive. Think of him as the chess player and her as the battlefield commander. Very different playbooks, right? He thinks 5 moves ahead, she charges in without checking the board. His life is guided by logic, careful planning, and caution, while hers thrives on passion, momentum, and daring risk. To the outside world, they seem like two characters from completely different genres. And yet, this contrast, this sheer difference in style and energy, is exactly what makes their dynamic so intriguing. It's not smooth. It's not obvious. But it's real. What draws them in is the subtle recognition that the other possesses something they themselves lack, and that fascination can become magnetic. The Aries woman is attracted to confidence, and while the Virgo man may not roar like a lion, his quiet competence can be wildly appealing to her. He's not flashy, but he's solid, reliable, thoughtful. And to an Aries woman who's used to charging ahead, that kind of grounded energy can feel like a safe harbor. He doesn't try to control her or compete with her intensity. Instead, he offers her something rare in her world, calm stability without condescension. His silence isn't empty, it's observant. His actions speak louder than his words, and she notices. What fascinates her even more is that he doesn't try to impress her, he's just him. And that authenticity, that humble strength, is deeply attractive to someone who often deals with bravado and superficial charm. With Virgo, there's depth, and that's a treasure Aries didn't even know she was looking for. On his end, the Virgo man admires her decisiveness and zest for life. She takes risks he would never dream of. Where he hesitates, she acts. Where he overthinks, she leaps. It's exhilarating, and also terrifying. To a Virgo man, who often analyzes every detail before making a move, her boldness can feel like watching someone tightrope walk without a net. And yet, he can't look away. There's something about her certainty, her fearless drive, that stirs admiration deep in his methodical heart. She brings fire to his earth, movement to his stillness. He knows he'd never push himself the way she would, but seeing her do it makes him want to understand that world. If he's open, she becomes a living invitation for him to take a few brave steps out of his comfort zone, towards spontaneity, passion, and risk. Their courtship can feel like a dance, he'll want to plan every step, she'll want to freestyle. Misunderstandings are inevitable. He might see her spontaneity as recklessness. She might find his constant analysis emotionally distant or even boring. She'll want passion in the moment, he'll want emotional security over time. He may misread her bursts of energy as immaturity. She may mistake his caution for lack of interest. And both will be wrong unless they learn how to read each other's language. If they don't make the effort, this tension can create frustration. But if they do, it becomes chemistry. It becomes a fusion of wild impulse and thoughtful commitment, a bond forged not by ease, but by the shared decision to understand rather than change each other. But if they learn to meet in the middle, this connection can be powerful. The Aries woman teaches the Virgo man to loosen up and live a little. The Virgo man helps the Aries woman see the beauty of structure and long-term thinking. They can become the perfect antidote to each other's extremes. He learns to let go of perfection and experience joy in the unpredictable. She learns to channel her fire into something that lasts. It's not a union of instant harmony, but of slow, intentional growth. Through effort and mutual respect, this relationship transforms into something rare, a balance between excitement and stability, chaos and control, instinct and intention. And that's a love worth holding on to. Sexual compatibility. Now, let's talk chemistry, because it's not just about minds, it's about bodies, too. Physical intimacy between a Virgo man and an Aries woman is where their elemental differences come alive in the most vivid, and sometimes volatile, ways. This isn't just a casual meeting of passion, it's a learning curve disguised as foreplay. Fire meets earth. Impulse meets patience. Instinct meets intention. And when these two step into the bedroom, the challenge is not just about attraction, it's about synchronizing two very different tempos of desire. Their energies don't automatically mesh, they collide, compete, and if handled right, eventually complement each other in a uniquely satisfying rhythm. But none of that happens overnight. In the bedroom, their differences are again on full display. The Aries woman is raw passion, an adventurous lover who wants to explore, dominate, and be surprised. She's fiery, fast-moving, and thrives on spontaneity. She doesn't want to plan it, she wants to feel it. For her, sex is a form of expression, a kind of living poetry written in heat and motion. She doesn't want to tiptoe into desire, she wants to run headfirst into it. She craves excitement, dominance, and creative freedom. Her style is instinctual, almost primal at times, and she's constantly in search of new sensations. Routine turns her off. She wants connection, but through intensity, not words. For her, sexual compatibility means being met with equal passion and a touch of surprise, something new, something bold, something real. The Virgo man is, in many ways, her opposite. He's a sensualist, not a sprinter. He pays attention to detail, wants to get everything right, and often takes time to warm up. But here's the twist, once he feels secure and connected, he becomes an incredibly attentive lover. He's thoughtful to the point of precision, focused on his partner's pleasure with the devotion of someone trying to solve a beautiful mystery. While Aries rushes toward climax, Virgo wants to build an experience, layer by layer. He doesn't chase intensity for its own sake, he wants meaning in the act. And ironically, this makes him incredibly desirable once Aries slows down enough to notice. His touch is deliberate. His kisses are explorative. He may not be wild out the gate, but once he's comfortable, he brings a depth and sensitivity that turns sex into an art form. So what happens when fire meets earth? Friction, for sure, but also potential for something extraordinary. At first, there may be misalignment. Aries may push for immediacy and intensity, while Virgo may pull back, analyzing every moment. She might feel like he's holding back, when in fact he's trying to make sure he doesn't miss a beat. He, in turn, may feel rushed, overwhelmed by her intensity, or pressured to act before he's ready. If she misreads his caution as lack of desire, sparks can quickly turn into tension. But if they communicate, and that's a big if, they can unlock a dynamic intimacy that transcends the surface level. She brings the heat, he brings the depth. She initiates, he sustains. Her fire melts his restraint, and his presence tempers her flames. It's a rhythm they'll need to work out, but once they do, it's incredibly fulfilling. Imagine passion that doesn't burn out but evolves, sex that starts with excitement and ends in profound connection. That's the potential here. But it requires mutual effort. Aries needs to understand that Virgo's reserved nature isn't rejection, it's his process. And Virgo needs to stop overthinking long enough to surrender to the moment. If they can meet halfway, if Aries can pause just enough and Virgo can lean in just a little sooner, they create a balance that few other signs can match. It's not just about pleasure. It's about learning to speak two different languages of love through one shared, evolving experience. And when that happens, The chemistry becomes electric. Marriage compatibility. This is where things get really interesting. Marriage between a Virgo man and an Aries woman is rarely built on whirlwind romance or instant chemistry. It's a slow burn, a long-term evolution rather than a flash of lightning. It's not the fairy tale kind of love that sweeps you off your feet, it's the kind that grows, that deepens, that survives. And honestly, that's what makes it worth talking about. Because when two such different energies decide to bind themselves together for life, they're not just making a promise, they're signing up for constant adaptation. Virgo and Aries don't fall into marriage easily. They build toward it, step by uncertain step, often after testing each other's patience, commitment, and emotional endurance. If they make it to the altar, it means something significant. They've chosen each other, in full awareness of how much work it will take to make it last. Virgo men are slow to commit, but when they do, they mean it. They take vows seriously. They believe in partnership, mutual growth, and building a stable life. For Virgo, love isn't about momentary bliss, it's about long-term support, loyalty, and shared purpose. He's not dazzled by grand romantic gestures. He wants daily effort, trust, and a clear plan for the future. Aries women, on the other hand, often rush into relationships. She leads with the heart, sometimes before fully vetting compatibility. To her, love is an adventure, a fire that demands to be followed. She's passionate, impulsive, and idealistic, especially in the beginning. This fundamental difference can cause early imbalance. Virgo might find Aries too fast, Aries might find Virgo too slow. But when they genuinely fall for each other, it's often after facing friction. And that friction, those early battles, can create a marriage built on true awareness. They've tested the waters. They've survived storms. They've chosen to stay even when it wasn't easy. So, when these two do marry, it's often because they've already weathered storms together. They know their differences, and they've chosen to stay anyway. That means their union is forged in reality, not fantasy. Virgo has accepted that Aries will always be a little unpredictable, a little wild around the edges. Aries has accepted that Virgo needs order, routine, and time to think. They've likely had difficult conversations, taken breaks, maybe even thought about walking away. But they didn't. And that means their love has real grit. Their wedding day isn't the beginning of their relationship, it's a checkpoint. A milestone that marks not just love, but resilience, compromise, and a shared vision they've worked hard to develop. Their differences didn't break them. They became the fabric of their story. In marriage, Virgo brings structure. He handles the bills, plans the future, and keeps chaos in check. He's the one balancing the budget, setting reminders for dentist appointments, making sure the car's oil gets changed. His love shows up in the quiet acts of caretaking. He might not say, "I love you," in grand ways, but he'll show it through his consistency and foresight. Aries brings adventure. She suggests the spontaneous weekend getaway, the career pivot, the new hobby they'll try together. She keeps the marriage alive with energy, spark, and surprise. She adds color to Virgo's blueprints. Together, they create a life that's both stable and exciting. Their home might have neatly labeled storage bins and a sudden trip booked to Iceland. Their calendar is a mix of well-planned obligations and last-minute thrills. It's weird. It's a little chaotic. But it works. But challenges lurk. Virgo's need for perfection can frustrate Aries, who sees it as nagging or nitpicking. He wants everything in its place, emotionally, physically, practically. Aries finds that confining. She thrives in spontaneity and hates being told she's wrong for doing things her own way. Aries' impulsiveness can scare Virgo, who views it as irresponsible. She might switch jobs on a whim, take on a risky investment, or suddenly decide she wants to move across the country. To Virgo, that's not brave, it's reckless. To Aries, Virgo's resistance feels like fear, like a refusal to evolve. These tensions can chip away at their bond if they're not managed properly. The key? Communication. Virgo must learn to express his needs without criticism. It's not about telling Aries what she shouldn't do, it's about sharing how her actions make him feel. Aries must learn to receive feedback without feeling attacked. It's not about changing who she is, it's about learning how to be more mindful of her partner's emotional world. Friendship compatibility. As friends, Virgo and Aries can be an unexpectedly great team, an odd couple that somehow works better than anyone would guess. Think of them as brains and brawn. Strategy and execution. The careful planner and the fearless doer. On paper, they seem like total opposites. Virgo analyzes everything with quiet intensity. Aries barrels forward with high-octane energy. But this isn't a clash, it's a partnership in motion. Virgo brings groundedness and method to Aries' chaos, while Aries injects energy and boldness into Virgo's routine. This is the kind of friendship that thrives not in harmony, but in contrast. They challenge each other, surprise each other, and bring out hidden sides the other didn't know existed. Over time, that strange chemistry builds a deep, if unconventional, bond. Virgo brings insight, logic, and patience. He's the friend who reads the fine print, remembers your birthday, and notices when something's wrong before you even say a word. In any friendship, Virgo is the quietly loyal one, the helper, the fixer, the steady hand in a storm. Aries brings courage, action, and spark. She's the friend who drags you out of bed for a spontaneous road trip, who signs you up for karaoke even though you swore you'd never sing in public. She's electric, impulsive, and constantly in motion. When you put them together, something clicks. Aries encourages Virgo to take risks, to break his own rules. Virgo encourages Aries to slow down and think twice before jumping. They don't just balance each other, they sharpen each other. Each one adds what the other lacks, and the result is often greater than either expected. Virgo may help Aries avoid foolish mistakes. He's the quiet voice of reason, the one who sees the red flags she missed in her rush to act. He might save her from bad decisions simply by asking the right questions. Aries, on the other hand, may push Virgo out of his comfort zone. She forces him to live a little, to loosen up, to try things he normally wouldn't. He plans the route, she hits the gas. They can plan a project together, Aries starts it with explosive energy, Virgo refines it with precision and follow-through. Aries gets things moving, Virgo keeps them on track. They can go on trips, Aries picks the place, Virgo handles the logistics. She chooses Bali on a whim, he books the flights, finds the best currency exchange rates, and remembers to pack sunscreen. It's chaos and order, hand in hand. That said, this friendship needs boundaries. Aries can be brash and accidentally hurt Virgo's feelings. She blurts things out without thinking, and while she doesn't mean harm, Virgo, who takes things seriously and often personally, can feel blindsided. Virgo can be overly critical without meaning to. He wants to help, to fix, to perfect, but Aries might hear it as judgment or condescension. These are emotional misfires, not malice, but they can sting just the same. When either one forgets to respect the other's style, conflict arises. Aries may accuse Virgo of being uptight. Virgo may accuse Aries of being careless. If left unchecked, those small digs can grow into resentment. That's why this friendship thrives when there's open communication and a mutual understanding that different doesn't mean wrong. But when mutual respect is present, this is a friendship that can last for years, possibly a lifetime. Aries will never let Virgo stay stuck in his head. She'll pull him out of his shell, throw him into the world, and show him how to live with boldness and courage. Virgo will never let Aries run off a cliff without a parachute. He'll help her think, pause, plan, giving her the tools to chase her dreams without crashing along the way. Together, they grow in ways they never would alone. And that's the heart of it. It's not about being the same. It's about making each other better. When that happens, when the fire of Aries meets the wisdom of Virgo, their friendship becomes not just sustainable, but truly unforgettable. Business compatibility. Now let's talk money, hustle, and ambition. Can a Virgo man and an Aries woman succeed in business together? Absolutely, but not without friction, growth, and an agreed-upon strategy for managing their very different working styles. When these two step into a professional partnership, what you get is a volatile blend of fire and precision. The Aries woman bursts with ambition, fearless energy, and unshakable confidence in her ideas. The Virgo man brings logic, restraint, and meticulous attention to every last detail. She's the spark, he's the structure. And when these traits are harnessed in harmony, they're not just a team, they're a business force of nature. But that harmony doesn't happen naturally. It requires respect, clarity, and the willingness to get uncomfortable in the name of shared goals. In the workplace, Aries is the trailblazer. She's bold, entrepreneurial, and not afraid to take risks. She wants fast results and thrives in dynamic, high-stakes environments. She dreams big, moves fast, and hates being slowed down. Aries doesn't wait for perfect timing, she creates the moment. If there's a shortcut to success, she's already halfway down the path. For her, energy is currency, and stagnation is death. She'll push for bold campaigns, aggressive growth, and disruptive innovation. Virgo, meanwhile, is the analyst. He focuses on systems, structure, and optimization. He's not about shortcuts, he's about doing things the right way, even if it takes longer. He sees the cracks Aries can't, foresees the risks she overlooks, and solves problems before they appear. While Aries wants to leap, Virgo wants a safety net and a backup plan, and probably a backup plan for the backup plan. It's not a matter of ambition. They both want to win. But their paths to victory couldn't be more different. If Aries is the startup founder, Virgo is the COO. Aries is out pitching investors, igniting social buzz, and chasing new markets. Virgo is back at the office running the operations, reading contracts line by line, and ensuring the infrastructure can handle the pressure Aries is creating. Aries is the visionary who says, "Let's build something that changes the world." Virgo replies, "Great, but let's make sure it doesn't collapse under its own weight." They're two halves of a whole enterprise, the dream and the blueprint. Aries pushes boundaries, demands speed, and thrives in chaos. Virgo organizes, perfects, and brings the chaos into order. When they recognize that they're not in competition but in complement, they become unstoppable. But if they try to lead the same way, the entire system overheats. Together, they can be unstoppable, if they respect each other's lanes. Aries brings the vision. Virgo builds the foundation. Aries pushes for innovation. Virgo ensures sustainability. She'll come to the table with ideas no one else would dare say out loud. He'll break them down, test their logic, and make sure they can actually work. She might get frustrated by the pace. He might get overwhelmed by the firestorm of new directions. But when both are committed to the long game, and willing to stay in their lane, they create a company culture that's both fearless and fail-safe. Aries keeps the dream alive. Virgo keeps it alive and profitable. The trick is trust, trusting that the other's style isn't a weakness, but a necessary strength. But power struggles are real. Aries might get frustrated with Virgo's caution. She may see his hesitations as fear or stagnation, and nothing irritates an Aries more than unnecessary delays. Virgo, on the other hand, might find Aries too reckless, her decisions too fast, her tolerance for risk too high. He wants to analyze every angle, she wants to act before the data's in. Left unchecked, these differences can erupt into constant arguments, micromanagement, or resentment. Virgo might start nitpicking every move Aries makes. Aries might start bulldozing past Virgo's feedback. If that happens, the business suffers. To succeed, they'll need to define their roles clearly and trust each other's instincts. Virgo needs the freedom to build systems without constant interruption. Aries needs the space to dream without being drowned in critiques. Clear boundaries, regular check-ins, and mutual accountability are their secret weapons. In negotiations, Virgo's attention to detail can save them. He'll spot the hidden clause, the fine print, the flaw in the pitch. He's the reason they don't sign a contract that would have cost them their margins. In sales, Aries' charisma can win the day. Her confidence, enthusiasm, and fearlessness can charm investors, customers, and collaborators. She sells the dream with conviction, while Virgo ensures they can actually deliver on that promise. It's a business duo made for high-stakes environments, if they play to their strengths. Final thoughts. So, are Virgo men and Aries women compatible? The answer is, it depends. Not because the stars are undecided, but because this pairing demands intention. It's not a match that falls together like puzzle pieces, it's one that builds itself through trial, tension, and trust. Compatibility between a Virgo man and an Aries woman isn't automatic, it's earned. Their connection is more alchemy than formula, a transformative process where two seemingly opposite energies are given time, space, and effort to find rhythm. And when they do, the result is something rare. Not perfect, not smooth, but real, raw, and deeply resilient. This isn't fast love. This is slow-burn fire meeting solid earth, each shaping the other over time. This pairing isn't the easiest, but it's one of the most transformative. When Virgo's steadiness meets Aries' fire, something powerful can happen, but only if both are willing to grow. Aries has to learn that not every door needs to be kicked down, some can be opened with a key. Virgo has to learn that perfection is the enemy of progress, and sometimes the only way forward is to leap. They're here to challenge each other's worldviews, to confront each other's blind spots, to force emotional growth. It's uncomfortable, sure. But it's also illuminating. Aries lights a fire under Virgo's cautious plans. Virgo plants roots under Aries' wild ambitions. When they choose to work together instead of trying to win over each other, they evolve into something far stronger than they started out as. They're not just growing a relationship, they're growing themselves through that relationship. If you're a Virgo man in love with an Aries woman, or vice versa, know this, you're not doomed by the stars. You're challenged by them. The zodiac doesn't dictate success or failure, it offers insight, a starting point. Your choices, your actions, and your willingness to understand each other make all the difference. Virgo, you'll have to learn how to live with the unpredictability that Aries brings, how to love her not in spite of her fire, but because of it. Aries, you'll need to slow down just enough to see the beauty in Virgo's care, his intentionality, his steady presence. This pairing is not about immediate chemistry, it's about emotional chemistry forged over time. And if you accept that challenge, you just might find a love that's not only exciting, but enduring. Not just thrilling, but grounding. The kind that both changes you and keeps you centered. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more astrological insights, and check out the links in the description for bonus content. Until next time, trust the stars, but trust yourself more. Because while astrology gives us the map, it's you who decides how far you're willing to go.